Hello, everyone. My guest today is Brian Trautschold. He's the co-founder of a company called Ambition, is now serving as their COO. They were Y Combinator Winter 14. He's into startups, seat upgrades, brown dogs, and age appropriate pickup basketball games. Brian, you ready to take us to the top?
Hey man, what's up? How you doing, Nathan?
I'm glad. I'm doing well. Thanks for joining, man. So look, hey, the sales performance space is really, really tough and fragmented. Help us understand what Ambition's doing and how you see yourself fitting in the market.
Yeah, we do think it's very fragmented space. We don't think there's anyone who's really leading the charge, and we believe that especially enterprise organizations with large sales teams, they need a great solution to coach, manage, motivate their salespeople. And we're planning to do that. We do that for companies around the world, from mid-market to enterprise, create more effective, better retention, and more happy salespeople.
And are you selling to the HR team for salespeople onboarding, or your sales to the sales team because this helps them close more?
Yeah, so we're selling into the sales leadership, and we're not helping them close more. We're helping them follow the plan, stick to whatever the sales process is, and then have better management conversations, more effective management. I think that in our space, it's about sending a better email or saying the right words on a call. Every conversation with your manager, it's about checking in on the metrics. It's about checking in on your attainment proactively and at a highly recurring basis.
Okay, and give me a general sense here, pricing wise, right? So, what are customers paying you on average for this?
Yeah, on average, there's a wide view in that mid market to enterprise, but on average, $20,000 to $30,000 per year.
Okay, and someone that's paying you, let's just call it $20,000 for ease of numbers. What are they getting in terms of what's the team size typically, things like that?
Yeah, you're probably at about a 50 person huge organization that could be across a few different roles. People, inside sales account executives, and sometimes folks that are maybe hybrid, like account managers or even some light customer success or customer support type people on there.
Got it. That's super helpful. All right, put this stuff on a timeline for us. When did you launch the company? What year?
Yeah, so I think we started the company. I say started. We got going with the idea in 2013. We're actually still working on another startup at the time, and I think we launched our first customer right at the end of that year, 2013. Went through YC in early 2014. And then that was really when we realized, oh shit, this is a huge space. No one's doing it well. There's so much more to be done than just really the motivation or the gamification piece, which is where we started. We just started to chip away at all of these areas where managers could be more impactful. We thought that technology was really failing us, providing them feedback and providing them clear ways to be more effective. And so every year since really 2014, we figured out the secret sauce is ask people what they want, ask people what they need, what they think could be better, and we try to go build a better tool for specifically sales managers and sales reps.
And so with kind of that focus and that learning process, what have you been able to scale to over the past 5 years in terms of total customers on the platform?
Yeah, so we're approaching 250, easily 300 customers in the middle of this year. And like I said, from Fortune 10 logos to startups you've heard about that are growing rapidly in Silicon Valley. So we span the gamut.
Yeah. Well, it's nice. You have to have strong sales numbers because hopefully you're eating your own dog food, right? Otherwise we'd be in trouble.
I mean, that's probably one of the best things about the company is that we get to talk to the most dynamic, the smartest sales leaders in the world every single day who are buying our product. And we get to ask them, what are you doing? What's the process you're running? How are you coaching your reps? How are you aligning on goals? How do you create a great culture? They tell us, and then we just do the same things in our company.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, and it seems like it's working. We can kind of back into numbers, right? If you have these folks doing, call it $20,000 ACVs or $1,700 a month, then you're north of 250 customers. I mean, you guys are cranking past 420 grand a month now in MRR, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's right. That's good math.
Yeah, that's good. No, that's healthy stuff. And then help us understand, obviously once you're on the kind of the YC train, and I don't know if you've taken more funding, we'll talk about that later, but growth becomes really, really important. So if you're at, call it 420 today per month, where were you about a year ago?
I mean, less than half of that.
Okay, good. So, you're still doubling that's still healthy growth. Where's most of that growth coming from? Expansion revenue or adding new logos altogether?
Yeah, that's a great question, Nathan. We become, I think, strong. Part of it is get into the enterprise, you realize you have so much more opportunity in your existing accounts to go satisfy and to go thrill them. So we've built an internal process on selling and expanding our customers. But I'd say 70% of our revenue this year is going to come from net new. So new folks coming in the door, first time they ever work with us. But we know there's many millions more in that existing expansion of our current base.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So you talk about 70% of your growth coming kind of being net new. The rest, it sounds like, probably coming from expansion. Peel back that kind of churn, retention, expansion onion for me. So when you look at gross churn across the base, or like what does that look like? And it sounds like you're more than making up with that with expansion to keep your net revenue retention above 100%.
Yeah, that's right. So it's net negative. But yeah, I think that's probably one of the things that I would advocate for their founders, listening to your show, is depending on the customer base, you have a really great opportunity if you're going into the larger mid-market and especially the enterprise. You're not making a one-time decision to subscribe to some SaaS software where it's like, oh, it's $200 a month, it's $50 a month, who cares? We're talking about strategic initiative with these customers. We're talking about how we can help them transform their business over the next 2, 3, 5 years. And that has a huge impact on churn. So, do we struggle if an account, goes through a big layoff or changes their sales structure? For sure. But the good thing is we're typically getting high enough that if we get in with 50 or 100 reps to begin with, like you said, we have a great opportunity to go get 25, 50, 1,000 more reps over time, especially enterprise. And so that's what's really driven that number to be net negative for us on the churn side.
How negative? Are we talking negative 5%, negative 10% or more?
Yeah, so that's 10 to 20% range.
Yeah, no, okay, good. So said differently, net negative churn of negative 10% is the same as net revenue retention of north of 110. So yeah, those are healthy numbers. Now, some of the most successful kind of SaaS companies, Brian, they upsell against as many axes as they possibly can. Whether it's you mentioned number of seats already, then there's kind of feature-based upselling, then kind of utility-based upselling. Have you figured out your other two pricing axes yet, or is it really seat-driven?
Right now, it's seat-driven. Right now, it is there's a little differentiation of the package to the enterprise, but that's something we're doing right now. We're actually going through the exercise with our team. About 4 months ago, probably 6 months ago, we really figured out the strategic leadership team at Ambition. We're just a company of 37 today. And so we're going through the exercise of how do we create differentiation in package? How do we sell some different utility to especially large organizations who, to be honest, use a product like ours than a company with 20 seats or 50 reps. When you have 2,000 or 3,000 reps, everything you do is about data. It's about utilization. It's about accountability, or what I would say, probably sticking with the plan they have and making sure that 2,000 people are running the same playbook. We're building out more diversity in our packages and learning, like you said, how can we upsell them more value to the existing product, or how can we have small add-ons that drastically improve their outcomes? That's something we're doing every single day now.
And Brian, if you ignore your expansion revenue, what does gross churn on a revenue basis look like annually? Are we kind of in the 10, 20% range there? Or are you better?
One more time. What was the
no
gross
problem.
churn on?
Yeah. What's gross revenue churn look like annually the past 12 months? You're talking 10, 20% or better?
Yeah, it's probably 10 or just a little bit less.
Okay, again, so that's healthy. That so again, if 10 is gross, 22% is expansion, 112 net, that's obviously a healthy company as you explore another different pricing models. Talk to me about pricing relative to CAC, right? So if you've got these folks coming on at $20,000 ACVs, how aggressive are you being in acquisition?
Yeah, I think that we're still not being very aggressive, to be honest, Nathan. You're going to ask about our financing, and I'm just like, put the story together for you. I mean, we've only raised $6.5 million. We've done a lot of the last, 2 years of growth has all been driven at being break even. And so we're very, we're very thoughtful in maybe a little bit different way than most IC companies about saying, what do we really want to do right now? And what can we afford to do? And how do we think it's going to impact the bottom line? And so we haven't gone and said, let's hire 15 people at once. We haven't gone and said, let's put boots on the ground in all of these cities. We still have an inside sales model. We're actually just standing up our sales development program right now internally. And I think we're really just in the first inning, maybe the second inning of doing field marketing to any real degree. So our CAC has been extremely low, almost like irrelevantly low, because we haven't spent a lot of money, going out there and doing paid acquisition or a lot of field events. So I think right now we're almost in the first stage of figuring out, or as we put some more gas onto that fire, what does it look like to really firm up that number and say, yeah, it took this many touches from SDRs, it took this much field marketing or marketing paid acquisition to get to that opportunity that ultimately closed one for $20,000 or $30,000 or $40,000.
Yeah.
We've not been driven by the CAC before. We've been driven by, are our reps succeeding? Are our reps hitting the number? Do we feel like we're putting them in a great situation to win? I think what a lot of people do early on, to kind of go on a little bit of a tangent, they get that first inkling of product market fit. They throw 8, 12, 15 bodies against it, and they realize that it breaks down. And unfortunately, that typically really hurts the reps a lot more than it hurts.
Brian, just to dial in though. I mean, I totally understand you haven't figured out kind of field. You're just getting into the kind of the higher touch model here, but you do have sales reps. I mean, you have modeled this to some degree. So when you say churn is what I'm getting the sense is your CAC is so low, it's not something that even really comes up a ton. I mean, so is that fair to say you like pay back less than probably 2 or 3 months on most of these accounts?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think at max, if it's a really small deal, then we're doing maybe 4 or 5 months payback.
Yeah. Well, and again, deal size is typically irrelevant because payback period is usually a ratio, right, between obviously CAC and ARPU. So it sounds like whether it's a big account paying, right?
Yeah, you can typically though, you can back into it and say like, well, how much was all of the, if we're looking at a commission and we're looking at a cost of, variable comp on meeting set, and we're looking at what was the campaign or the genesis of where this opportunity came from. Yeah, we can do a pretty good job of saying it's 2-3 months, typically maybe 4 months, and then if it's a much smaller deal or individual deal, maybe it gets a little bit longer.
Yeah. Interesting. Very good. All right, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
I think it's got to be Horowitz. The hard thing about everything. I think that's.
Yep. Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I watch Aaron Levy a lot. I think he's a phenomenal person who's grown in the role. He was in early 20s, and now he's built such a great company with Box. I'm impressed by him every day.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building a business?
Probably Google Sheets.
Makes sense. Number 4, how many hours of sleep you get every night?
About 4 or 5.
Oh, damn. Okay. And situation, married, single, kids?
Well, adds to it. I'm married. I have 2 kids. I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. So that counts in the sleep a little bit.
Yeah. All right. And how old are you, Brian?
32.
32. Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
I would say have more fun. It's been a lot of fun building this company over the last 5-6 years, and the 2 startups beforehand. I think we can get lost in the grind sometime, in the stress. And looking back, it's first world problem a lot of times. It's a lot of fun. The people we work with are incredible. So I tell everyone to have more fun. Guys,
ambition.com, playing in the sales performance management space, 37 people, a rare case where a YC company is actually break even. Great. Only $6.5 million raised, 10% gross churn on a revenue basis, 22% expansion, 112 net expansion. Just now getting into growing his sales team in terms of the economics around field sales and things like that. But they've got runway to do it, doing about $420,000 per month in revenue across 250 customers, paying on average $1,700 per month. Brian, congratulations. Thanks for taking us to the top.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Nathan. Thanks.